Welcome to Artists, Icons, and Entrepreneurs, where we share the stories and experiences and lessons of people shaping the beauty profession. I am co-host Lulu Benavides, and today's summer series guest is Joe Santy, an internationally respected educator, author, salon owner, and beauty industry icon, known for his expertise in permanent waving, texture, color, and hair chemistry. From being nicknamed Perm Boy to witnessing changes in the beauty hair care and bond building technology, Joe has spent decades educating and inspiring hairstylists around the world. Please welcome the one and only Joe Santy.
You asked, how did I get the name Perm Boy and why I'm obsessed with permanent waving?
Correct.
So I think I'll start by telling you why I was obsessed with permanent waving. Is a lot of people know this because I used to speak about it. My father, as I told you, was the chief MRB engineer for Boeing. He was dual degreed aeronautical and civil. However, his older brother was a hairdresser and his great uncle were hairdressers. So I got to experience real life Warren Beatties before shampoo even came out.
Yeah.
And it was pretty amazing because these guys lived great lives. As Sue said, we're in a great industry when we were just chatting before, and we are, and it was a great industry back then also. But they both told me when they found out that I quit college to go to beauty school, is Joe, study the chemicals. The chemicals are what's going to make you money. And it was true. Now, I don't want Sue to think any less than me, so I'm not going to tell you the background story to Punk Boy, but I will tell you how it came about. I like the word, I don't know if the word would be tedious or detailed. I like working with my hands. I mean, now unfortunately I'll be 70 in 2 months. My arthritis in my hands to do like smaller work is getting a little rougher. But I just always I enjoyed seeing a wrap that was just done, when I say to perfection, as perfect as you could humanly get it. And I follow this Japanese kid now out of Japan. And some of the raps he does, my mind's blown away by how there are still people that are doing perms. And I think it's a travesty that in our industry, there's more people. Like when I see online with some of the hairdressing groups on Facebook, they say, oh, client asked for a perm today. I told her no way, blah, blah, blah. This, that. And you're letting so much money walk out the door. That it's like 60% of females and males have straight hair. So there's a market there for it if people learn how to execute it properly.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
and I think, Joe, you're such a hairdresser's hairdresser, which automatically there's a attraction, but you're the person who also really, for many, demystified the science behind the chemicals, because I think the reason a lot of hairdressers maybe don't want to do perms or are afraid of perms or have a bad idea about perms is they don't understand the chemistry and the art of adding texture. So what was your secret, and how did you, because you're the guru in that category.
Well, see, again, for full transparency, and if you're listening out there, get your notepad out for this. Go to modernsalon.com, put in the search engine Joe Santy, and an article is going to come up that I did called My One in a Million Mentor. Back before I was even making $500 a week, I used to read, I still read voraciously. Why? Because I had trouble with reading when I was younger, and it always bothered me. So now I read, used to have a dictionary by me, now I have the dictionary app. But it's the truth, Lula. If you're reading and you come across a word that you don't understand, and if you keep reading, kind of kilts everything. You're not getting the true meaning behind it. But I used to read a magazine called Soap and Cosmetic Specialties, and there was a chemist in there that would do an article every month on permanent waving. He happened to be the chemist that held a patent for on-the-rod neutralization, named Dr. Albert Shansky. Now, Dr. Shansky, when I called him, I'm a voracious one for finding like not somebody's weak spot, but finding where the point of commonality would be. And he happened to live in Norwalk, Connecticut. But he was a great guy. I did it for years to the point he said, Joe, we're friends now. I don't want you paying me anymore. Any questions you have, you just call me. And the way I was able to refute the Olaplex chemists, so to speak, because they said I was crazy when I told them what my findings were with the testing. And I know that the only reason they said that was because I was a hairdresser. It was because of Dr. Shansky and what he taught me over the years. So I'm not a chemist. A lot of people go, well, geez, you're a chemist. I'm like, no, I'm not a chemist, nor do I profess to be one. I don't even play one on TV. I'm not a chemist at all. If I was younger, I would go back to school for chemistry because I had a vested interest in it. But Dr. Shansky is the one that I credit with everything, all the stories. When we were at Matrix, we use stories. We use things that were relatable to people. And you can only do that if you understand actually what's going on with the hair and with the chemical that you're applying to it.
I think that was the beautiful thing about the education and your beliefs, Joe, because if a hairdresser spent a couple of hours with you, they learned enough that they could go back the very next day and make more money in the salon. And many, many, many of them did. You know, you're really thought of as sort of the person who came up with bond building technology, which again has made so many hairdressers successful in the last few years. You had a 12-step Olaplex approach, and like most things, in the early days, there was a lot of criticism, but it was unbelievably successful. Can you talk a little bit about where that came from and how that developed? Because
Sure.
Joe Santy and Olaplex, I mean, they're synonymous with successful texturizing.
Well, I just want to make one disclaimer,
building.
and then as I talk about this, you'll see, because I never put all that on me. It took a team. I just happened to be the one to find its uses with lightener and color. So Jane Morehouse, who you both know, owns her PR company, and Dean Crystal had liquid, as well as, you know, he and his family were involved in the beauty industry for years. So I happened to be in Las Vegas for Cosmoprof, and I got a phone call from Jane saying, Joe, this gentleman thinks he has something for a permanent wave, but he's not sure. And I told him, you can't do anything with a permanent wave unless you talk to Joe, which I was honored. I was honored and humbled. And Jane, she's been a good friend of mine since my Matrix days too. She's almost like a sister, actually. But anyhow, so to make a long story short, I met Dean outside of the ballroom, which was at the Mandalay Bay. And I know you guys know the ramp that goes up to the ballroom, and there's benches there. We sat there, and immediately I liked the guy, and fortunately it was mutual. We sat there for 3 hours, and I walked away with my head spinning, because what he thought he had was a permanent wave neutralizer replacement, but that would leave the hair in unbelievable shape. And he did. That was the funny part. It did. You could neutralize a perm with straight Olaplex #1, and it's going to come out amazing. So he said, well, I'm going to send you an NDA and blah, 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 blah. So I flew back home Tuesday night, I guess it is. Wednesday, the NDA was in my email. I signed it. By Friday, I had my first bottle of what we called the Invention. I grabbed a couple models, and I wanted models that had shampoo and box color, because those were always the hardest to permanent wave over. And I still have the pictures somewhere. First model used Nice and Easy, high lift blonde. Her perm, I used all purple rods. The perm came out utterly gorgeous, neutralized with this. Then I started to use the #1 just on hair by itself. And again, we called it the Invention back then. And the difference in the texture of the hair was unbelievable. 2 months into testing, because I always like to use at least 40 heads with something before I come to a conclusion. So 2-3 months into testing, I called Dean. I said, listen, if you want to make millions of dollars, I said, forget the permanent wave market. I know I'm shooting myself in the foot, but you put this in lightener and color. And so he called me back an hour later. He goes, my chemist said you were blanking crazy. Quote. And I said, get the chemist, get people that are good at hair color to try this. And the names, that's why I said it took a team, because Olaplex was the closest. Actually, it surpassed what we had with Matrix back in the Army days. Like and that was good. I never thought it could get any better than that. And then Dean and Darcy come on the scene, and man, it just was off the charts. Well, long story short, I have an apology letter from the chemist saying he'll never doubt somebody because of their background or this, that, or the other, which is fine. And I love the guy. I don't hold anything against anybody. Olaplex went on. The 12-step perm came as a result. That was my strength, by the way, with perming. I taught 32 different ways to wrap a perm. However, my strength was taking high-lift blonde hair and getting texture in it without the hair falling out, still wrapped around the rods. And with some of the naysayers, that's why I laugh when I see it today on Facebook. When I did Juliana Huff's perm, I got more press from that than I think I did at any point in my career. She had very high lift blonde hair. She wanted a perm for, I can't remember, she said 6 or 9 years. Nobody would do it. So I did it, and I used Olaplex, and it came out great. And then Juliana Huff presented a whole new challenge for me. But I'll perm anybody. If they have elasticity, I'll perm their hair, because the only hair that can't take a perm is hair that lacks elasticity. And there's ways to do that. I did a specialty wrap too. I might have used short ponytails on the bottom of Juliana Huff, and then I used very large rods on the top. She wanted a wave, and it came out beautiful and it lasted. So that was it. I mean, that was my claim to fame, is taking hair that's been compromised and getting texture to stay in it. And that, the only thing,
like always.
opinions are great in the beauty industry, but when somebody comes out with something, do a half head test. I don't care if you do it on a mannequin head or you do it on a human. Compare side by side. That's the only intelligent way, really, to see if what you're saying is true or not true.
So, can you advise the next generation what innovation or mindset they must adopt to permanent waving at this time for the next 20 years?
I think the mindset is just to keep an open mind, because that's what's lacking. When I read the comments on a permanent wave post on hairdressers helping hairdressers, or behind the chair one of these other groups, and they're saying run as fast as you can. I think you really, any subject like logic, for example, with me, I never understood the academia behind logic. So I bought a DVD course that I watch, and believe me, it's stressful for me because I have to replay things 2 or 3 times. And I think it's a permanent waving. You got to delve deeper into it. You can't base it on one bad experience. You have to try different things. And if that trying means doing mannequin heads, that was, I can remember, I gotta bring up another name from the past. I remember the Altieri brothers making fun of me back in the day, because I would use all mannequin heads. But it was impossible to do a show and show multiple wraps, and how they end up. Because that's the important thing. I could show somebody a wrap, but if I'm not showing them what the end result is, what good is it for that? And then ironically, probably after 1999, 2001, whatever it was, everybody was using mannequin heads to educate anyway.
Yeah.
But that's the mindset, I would say, is number one, read more. I don't care if you read more in the industry or out, but definitely read. If your interest is in color or permanent waving, get to know the chemistry behind it. I mean, you've got a lot of good people out there. David Valesco that put out that, whatever it is, 8-book set on color. You had the book, what was the book? Andre. God, I met Andre. My first color school,
It's colors.
my first color school was Clairol Color Institute, where Herb Mendelsohn was my teacher. And Andre offered me a job then, but I didn't want to move to California. But he started. I'm certified colorist.
Yes, certified colorist.
Yes. Their book, amazing. And you two remember John Gauntier's Congress of Colorists. I still have his original education stuff on the bookshelf to the left of me here. So that's what I would recommend. The mindset is that, number one, if you don't understand it to the point that you're going to like it, then there's nothing. It's kind of almost, what would it be? I hate to say politics, especially in the world the way it is now. It's kind of politics. You can't make a comment unless you understand what's going on, and then don't pretend you know what's going on. Actually get down and do some research. And it's the same way with anything else.
What a wonderful conversation with Joe Santy. Joe's journey reminds us that success comes from education, curiosity, relationships, and respecting the science behind our art. His story also proves that something as simple as being called Perm Boy could become an incredible legacy. Joe, thank you for sharing your experience, your humor, and your wisdom with us. If you enjoyed this episode, please like us and subscribe and share it with another beauty industry person. Your support helps us bring new voices and the stories that move our industry forward. I'm Lulu Benavides, and this is Artists, Icons, and Entrepreneurs. Until next time, keep learning, keep creating, and keep using your voice.